Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakaha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the elect of the nation of Israel. This is your brother Ayash Kabar from the GMS Virginia camp, coming at you with another lesson that I pray that you find edifying through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai. So I'm going to lead off with this. The book of Sirach. Chapter 12 and verse 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. And even though this is talking about Jake, you know, you can definitely apply this to Esau Edom. Because a lot of people have placed their trust in this devil's hands to allow them to be your leaders, to be your voices, to be something that they should have never have been, as far as you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Yahweh Hashem Yahushua said, never place another nation above thee. In other words, don't ask for a king of another nation, and if you do need a king, he'll appoint you one of your own brethren. But you Jakes are just wicked, so in that you're going to end up getting exactly what you deserve. And I was just paraphrasing that. But nonetheless, judgment is going forth. Prophecies are happening at an accelerated rate. The scriptures say, though it tarry, wait for it, And for a while it looked as though it tarried. And it's happening now and at a very accelerated rate. But nonetheless, the person responsible for all this calamity in the world is almost at an end. His kingdom is, essentially his wickedness has reached the ears of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. The book of Revelations chapter 6 and verse 4. And there went out another horse that was red, and that's Esau Edom, and that horse is power. And power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. And that's exactly what this devil has done. He has taken peace from the earth on many levels, and the power that was given to him was the power of the sword, the power of deceitfulness, so much more. You know what I'm saying? That was his blessing, to take peace from the earth. And that's what he's done. He's pitted everybody against one another. Even when it's obvious that, to show what he's doing, there's nothing that the people can do about, or there was nothing that the people can do about it for so long, because Yahweh Bashem Yahushua has given him the power to do so. But now we're entering into a time where Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is stripping this man of his blessing, stripping this man of what he has been able to utilize for so long, especially with the advent of the internet. Knowledge has definitely been increased, because there was a time where he could spread his propaganda over time, and by the time it reached the ears of the people in let's say New York, it had already taken place and is in place and doing the work by the time it reaches the people in California. In other words, what I'm trying to say is the transfer of information was so slow that by the time the people in another state, clear across the state, got the same information, the damage was already done. And when it's like that, it's very difficult to, you know, it's very difficult to stop it. Well, with the advent of the internet, you know, that is no longer the case. You know, with the advent of the internet, the moment, you know, some sort of propaganda is being spewed in New York, it's almost instantaneous that the people in California would get it. Or it can be clear across the other side of the earth where, you know, this devil can no longer lie, you know, about the horrors that he's been doing, you know. So now, you know, he's being questioned about the things that he's been doing, and he doesn't like it because he's actually held that power seat for so long without being questioned about the works that he's been doing. And they that sat, Salakia, and that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword, and that sword was that blessing, you know, that Isaac gave Esau. You know, he shall live by the sword. And he's been doing that. And he's done it perfectly. You know, this devil has not drawn out the sword in vain. He's actually using his blessing. You know, so a lot of the things that this devil has been doing is being brought out. The book of Jeremiah, actually the book of Obadiah 1:6. How are the things of Esau searched out, and how are his hidden things sought up? And a lot of his things that are being searched out, and a lot of the things that are being sought up, are things that's being brought out by either himself or the people of his nation. You know, the scriptures does say that his tongue shall fall upon himself, and that's exactly what's happening. You know, and the scriptures also said that he should be found liars, and that's another thing that's happening too. You know, this devil is found to be a liar, and by lies and deceit shall he deceive the whole world, and he's done it masterfully. So now he's at the point where he's got to do something about it. He's at the point where he's got to make a move, because the world is starting to realize how fucked up he is. The world is starting to realize who the problem is. You know, here it is. This devil has caused the Iranians to go against the Iraqians, to go against the Palestinians, to go, you know, he's caused so much of a great confusion amongst these other nations that they have actually sat back and thought about what the hell was going on. And they see what the problem is. You know, they see exactly what the problem is. They see who the problem is, you know, and very soon they're about to get rid of them. Very soon, these people are about to place judgments on, you know, these Edomites. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 49 and verse 10. But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret place. And he shall not be able to hide himself. He can't hide himself at this point. Because as, you know, as I said, you know, the people know who he is now. You know, the people know that they're not the true people of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. But that is not to say that these other nations won't get their punishment for it, because they have licked the wounds of Yasharallah, you know. So they got their punishments as well, but none is going to get it worse than Esau Edom. You know, this devil's about to be erased off of the map forever. You know, after he serves 1,000 years of slavery, hardcore slavery, twice as hard as what he put on the people of Israel. You know, but you know, this devil always talks about manifest destiny and how, you know, it was ordained for him to be this way. Yeah, okay. I give you that, but you did not consider the latter end of things. You did not consider the latter end of manifest destiny, because there is an extension to your judgment. And this is what you don't want to come to the realization of. You know, his seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, but he is not. So everybody is spoiled but you. Everybody has been raped, robbed, and murdered on a level that you have done but you. But very soon, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is going to pass that cup on to you, and you're going to drink the dregs thereof. And there's nothing that you can do about it. You know, you're gonna seek help, but ain't nobody gonna help you. You know, you're gonna want to dip your fingers in water, but ain't nobody gonna give you anything to drink, because you haven't given us anything to drink. So what makes you think that we're gonna give you something to drink in the time of your calamity, in the time when you're burning, you know, in that lake of fire? You know, in that lake of fire is Babylon the Great, after it's being bombarded by nuclear missiles. The book of James, chapter 2, and verse 13. For he shall have judgment without mercy that have shown no mercy, and mercy rejoices against judgment. So you're not going to have any mercy because you haven't showed any mercy. You know, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua ain't the hypocrite that you are. You know, you didn't show any mercy to the children of Yasharallah, and now you're going to want mercy. As I said, you're going to want to dip your finger in some water to quench that, you know, to quench your thirst. Nah, you're not going to get that. You're not going to get it at all. In fact, your judgment is going to be so horrific that I don't even feel for you. You know? And so very soon, you know, it's about to come to your doorstep. Judgment, that is. Very soon, the calamities that we of the nation of Israel have faced is going to be in your eyes. You know, you're going to see your dreams fail. You're going to see your wants come to naught. You're going to see everything that you have grown to enjoy in this wicked kingdom be destroyed. You know, the book of Isaiah, chapter 33 and verse 1. Woe to thee that have Salam. Woe to thee that spoilest, and thou was not spoiled, and dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. When thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled, and when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, thou shalt deal treacherously with thee. So your judgment is already set. You have already escalated, you know, your wickedness to the point where even if you stop being wicked, you know, the people ain't going to fucking trust you. So they're going to deal wickedly with you. They're going to give you exactly what you gave them. Even though, you know, you stop spoiling other men's goods and robbing their houses, that ain't going to stop a man from doing that to you. You see, you seem to think that just because you want to call a truce that it's a truce. No, you have created such a damage in the earth that there will be no truce. There won't be no truce. Oh man, you know, I'm sorry, you know, we didn't mean to do. No, yeah, you meant to do it because you had enough time to actually go ahead and change the laws. You had enough time to go ahead to help us out. You had enough time to go ahead, you know, to act peaceably. You had enough time to get your law enforcement in order to stop killing Jakes. You had enough time to do these things, but you chose not to do it. So now that you have been brought low and everybody's against you, you're going to want to seek mercy? It don't work that way. It don't work that way. And a lot of these nations are done with you. A lot of these nations are pissed off with you, especially these nations where you just went in and just slaughtered men, women, and children who are civilians for no fucking reason at all. These people are done with you. So, hey, all of this happened because you don't want to give up your kingdom, but you fail to realize that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua sets up kings and bringeth kings down. Now it's your time to come down, and there's nothing that you could do about it. And now, this is a quick lesson that was in on my spirit. You know what I'm saying? Because we're now entering into the time where we are entering into the time of Jacob's trouble at a deeper level. But we're also entering into a time where this is Esau's last stand. At this point for Esau, Edom is all or nothing. And so with that, I'd like to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakah, HaKodash, double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom.